Okay, so let's do a quick tour of the garden. Starting with the garage wall. So the garden is facing south, so directly behind me is south. So in the full sun we've got the honeysuckle, 2 apple trees that have been grafted onto one rootstock. Got my fig tree, which, as you can see, has some good sized figs on. They should ripen. They were kind of overwintered. Then coming along, got a little herb planter and salad. Lettuce gone absolutely crazy. Coming across, got my strawberry plants. And in the beds we've got onions, beetroot. There was a row of radishes, but they've over. I really need to plant some more. Spring onions. And over here in the corner, got potatoes, main crop potatoes, 3 tubs, and some peas, which looks like they've had a ravaged by the slugs. Boris, who has a thing for aces. Don't eat it. And I'm going to go around. I've got a small staging area here. We've got some overflow. We've got some Sweet Williams, which Joe likes to cut and keep indoors. It lasts absolutely ages. I've got a few more onions and spare lettuce there. Excuse the mess in the corner. In the greenhouse. So all along this side, I've got my peppers, all bell peppers. I was doing a little bit of an experiment. This first plant is one where I bought the seed, and it's doing all right, but it's a bit straggly. We've just got some flowers coming on it now. Then these 4 were all grown from a pepper bought in Sainsbury's. And people said, oh, you can't grow peppers from commercially grown peppers, but yeah, you can. And these plants are looking obviously much stronger. And they were accidentally pricked out when they were younger, because when they were growing in the propagator, just as we started to get some warmer weather, I was away for a couple of days and it got rather toasty in the propagator, and basically it killed off the lead-in shoots. So I just pinched those out, and as you can see, it didn't suffer any long-lasting damage. And hopefully, because as you can see, they were pinched out and got a good bushy head with absolutely masses of flowers setting fruit. So fingers crossed, I'll get plenty of peppers. On the end bench, so the sun's come out lovely, I have tomatoes. Actually, for the tomatoes, this sad looking pepper plant on the side here is actually a plant that I overwintered. It's not a bell pepper, it's smaller peppers, but surprisingly it has reshooted, and I now have, oh, got your first fruit sitting on there, plenty of flowers. So it was a little bit of test. I did 3, but that was the only one that survived. Then I've got my tomatoes. There's actually two varieties here. There's a tall greenhouse variety. These were actually my I'm trying to remember which is which now. No, this is the tall variety. It was actually a spare tomato plant. I've just left it in the smaller pot, but it's doing fine. And also it only started off in the propagator and then was left to its own devices on the bench. I do have a heater that was keeping the frost off, but other than that it did go down to quite low temperatures. I think the lowest the greenhouse went down to was like 2 or 3 degrees, but it survived fine. And then these two are a bush, more of a bush tomato, so we'll see how they do, and they're doing very well. Left in my propagator because it started getting so mad I ended up just leaving it here, is my spare melon. As you can see, I've got a nice melon well underway there, and then the 2 plants by the side that have kind of going a bit haywire. Again, I was going to put these outside, or at least one of them, and I might still, but it might be a bit of a job to untangle it. And this is a cucamelon. As you can see, the little fruits, if you can see that, just starting to develop. It's supposed to look like a melon, but taste like a cucumber. We'll see. Then on this side, I've got my quad grow, and quite frankly, these are amazing, and I will be investing in another set for next year, because they just take so much stress out of the watering and time. Like I say, I'm away a couple of days of the week, so being able to just leave this and not have to worry about it is brilliant. And here I've got my second melon plant, and again, good sized melon coming along on the bottom, and a couple more in the process of setting. That's good. And then next to that is my cucumber, for probably nearly 7 foot of it. And I started this in fact I started all of these in kind of, I can't, oh hang on, I can tell you, I've got the date on. January, end of January. These were started in my propagator here, and this propagator has 3 tiers, so it comes to about this height. So actually I can keep plants in there for quite a while, and I've got lights that are currently up the top, so I can keep a good level of daylight. So yeah, so this has been amazing. I've had, I don't know, you can see from where it's been cut, 1, 2, 3, I think I've had about four cucumbers off of it already, and it's only end of May, so that's good. Lots more to come. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in terms of where it goes next, or whether I just have to chop it off or maybe run it along the top. Next are my tomatoes. Now, believe it or not, these tomato bushes here, which must be getting on for 5 foot tall, were planted the same time as this one here, and obviously the difference being this one was left out in those obviously less light and colder temperatures, whereas these were kept in the propagator until I was sure the last frosts had gone and it started to get a little bit warmer, and obviously they had a lot more light, and they're grown in the quad grows as well, so that seems to have made a huge difference. Like triffids, loads of flowers. And lower down, I probably need to thin this out a bit. We do have some setting fruit in there too. Like I said, I will be getting some more quad grows. Basically, they just work off this reservoir. You can see the roots of the plants down there as well already from the cucumber. So all you do is make sure that's topped up. you can feed it through there as well. And then there's a wick. I don't know if you can just see that white bit there. That's like a wick that goes up into the plant, so the water can just be drawn up and the roots can find it. Whereas you can see now the roots, especially on the tomatoes, yep, the roots have found the water reservoir. And there's the lights up above. To monitor temperature, I've kept the thermostat on from my yeah, it's gone out of my head. This thing. You can see the little sensor down at the back. I've also got a thermometer in here, and just hanging up there is a sensor push sensor, which I can grab the details onto my phone for the temperature, humidity, dew point, etc. So I can keep an eye on things. And obviously I can check and make sure that the greenhouse isn't getting too cold and doesn't go below 0 through the colder months. And also I've got a weather station up there, so sometimes, you know, I can check how cold was it outside and what did the greenhouse measure. And usually even without any heating there's like 2 or 3 degrees difference. So outside we've got the pond. There are quite a few fish in there, believe it or not. It's quite hard to see with the reflection of the sun. Should put a polarizing filter on. And the borders, nice Acer. This is our kind of fern border, but we've got a clematis which has just opened up, the stilbees, and ferns, some hellebores. This is our new Amelanchier tree, which seems to be doing okay. And there's just a mixed border, lavenders and heucheras mostly. We quite like heucheras. The peony, dicentra, and some rose bushes. And a big ceanothus, which when we moved in was a big bush which filled this whole area. So we thought, well, rather than removing it completely, we'd just cut off the lower branches and make it into a standard. It seems to be doing okay. Our syringa, which has now finished flowering, and we've inherited some roses from the hedgerow. The nice Acer, and then lots of pots, roses, jasmine climbing up the post there, lots of pelargoniums. These were actually last year's. I just took cuttings, they survived nicely, kept them in the greenhouse over the winter. The salvia there, my blueberries, lots of blueberries coming on, bay tree, and some bedding for flowers. Unfortunately the rhodie is just about over, but that was stunning, as was the camellia a month or so ago in the corner of my little shed that I built. A salix, and that's it. Vastly different to what it was when we moved in, which was just patio and a bit of grass, which was extremely soggy. So I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.